Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Stream Rolls. We left off last week with our four intrepid, handsome, strapping, medically attention-needing adventurers speaking to a man named Franklin Spark in his blacksmith. They've recently returned with a bit of extra coin and decided that they were going to spend it, and they've find something to do for the next 10 days. What that will be is entirely up to them. At some point, they're going to fill this awkward silence, and I won't be talking to myself anymore.
No, I think we're all happy to just sit and be alone with our thoughts. You said it was up to us, and that's what we're choosing.
Yep, I'm patiently waiting for my sword to be sharpened.
So it's not just me who's hearing the voice in my head.
No, I assumed you were all aware of that and cool with it. It's been going on for a while.
I know.
It's like some invisible force is guiding us.
Well, I don't guided by the gods my whole life.
Don't so much guide you as I point you vaguely in a direction and what chaos happens, but I do my best. In this realm, people are able to regularly speak to their god.
Who's god are you?
All of them. That's the thing. It's very confusing. Eventually, I'm going to send my own son, who is me, down to you guys so that he can be sacrificed to appease me so that I don't smite you.
Are a therapist a thing yet? Because I think I need a therapist.
I think so too. Well, in any case, while we're waiting for Mr. Ishmael's sword to get sharpened, we could already go to the bank and take a look there into depositing some of our goods and exchanging the coin values. I still need to visit the person I was supposed to visit to pick up my books.
Yes, we do need to change out all these, platinum coins, because frankly, I don't want to get stabbed in a bar.
Yes.
That and a healer, preferably, eventually.
I will pass back to you guys the platinum that you're owed because I paid for all my stuff with my share, so.
How much is that exactly?
You all get 75 gold once this is broken down into smaller bits.
A tidy sum. Well, let's hit the bank then, so to speak.
Okay, you head back out into the city of Nota itself, and as it was last time, it's bustling. Again, the day seems to be going quite well. It seems a lot of the fishermen are talking about a bumper catch that has been brought in. To get to the bank, you'll head from where you are, back down, south of the flooded clam, and it is the round building, not far from the shore. You come to the entrance, it's guarded by 4 fairly heavily armed members of the local militia, and unlike the normal ones who carry clubs and weapons that are intended to be non-lethal, these are armed with swords, shields, and appear to be wearing breastplates that have been engraved with the seal of Nota. Upon entering the building, the doors open to a wide, round room with a pair of spiral staircases, one going up, one going down, and the counter is being tended mostly by a combination of humans, elves, and a single dwarven fella with a very tightly shaved chin and gloriously luxurious blonde mutton chops.
Okay.
All right then.
Well, this looks like a fine establishment. Well guarded, secure.
Well,
Let's
it certainly seems so.
Let's get our money changed.
Yes, should I take the initiative on this? I have a bit of experience with dealing with banks and stuff, seeing as I'm from
Go for
Blood
it.
You look like you've handled a few coins in your time.
name. Sadly so. I approach the counter.
Hail, traveller. What can I do for you?
Good afternoon, morning. What is it exactly? DM?
Good morning.
Good morning. We are looking to exchange some platinum pieces into gold pieces.
Oh, come into some money? Well, we can certainly do that for you. Do you happen to have an account with us already, or is this just a simple currency transaction?
A simple currency transaction.
Well, we work by weight. Give us your platinum, we'll count it out, and I'll return it to you in any combination of silver, copper, and golds that you would require. We don't accept electrum here.
Very well. Is this agreeable to all of you? And I turn to the party.
Aye.
Sounds good to me.
I shrug.
All right. I hand him the platinum pieces.
Tallies it up, splits it out into gold, because the amount you have will break down evenly into gold pieces. It goes, 4 of you, I see. Do you want it in 4 separate bags, or is one of you gonna take hold of the money?
4 separate bags for now.
Oh, not a problem, not a problem. I will take 1 gold piece from this, and because there's quite a lot, I'll hand you out backpacks appropriately. So he hands you out nice worked leather wallets that have the Nota seal, like nicely stitched and then also embossed on the little brass clip that is attached to them. He passes them out. So all of you get your 75 gold, and the minus 2 copper. Sorry, 2 silver, 5 copper each for the bags that they have gone into.
5 silver, 2 copper. Yes.
So, just to be sure, that will be 74 gold, 5 silver pieces. Sorry, 75. Yeah, 75 gold, 5 silver pieces, and 5 copper pieces of each.
5 silver pieces, 5 copper pieces. Yes, yes.
Yes. And I have done my maths wrong, so you should have an extra 2 silver pieces each as well.
That's okay. More
The
gold.
math tags.
More money.
Is there anything else that I can do for you while you are in our fine establishment?
For me, at least, a small thing. Do you know the address on this little paper here? And I show him the address that I'm supposed to pick up the books for the Mages Guild.
Ah, yes. Head over to the Temple of the Seven, go north, and you'll come to a loop with a range of buildings on it. Will be the 4th house on your left-hand side on the outer circle. You'll find it.
Thank you. And I note that down so I don't get lost. That is all that we require from your fine establishment. I bid you a good day and thank you kindly for your service.
Not a problem, not a problem. With your transaction completed, should you be interested in opening an account with ourselves, there is a 1% transaction fee for moving money from one city to another, but it does mean you won't have to be carrying around so much coin, dear fellows.
We will keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
See how the next few days pan out.
Yeah.
We may be back.
We're gonna be here for about a week, so.
It might as well be. And with that, I step away from the counter.
Yeah. Before we leave, in town, do you have like a local historian or a museum of sorts?
Closest thing to a local historian we've got is probably the temple, but I know the Mages Guild have a fine selection of books. It might be worth going and speaking to them.
Right, thank you very much.
Anything particular that you're after?
Now I've just come into a few items of interest that I don't think quite fit at the bank. And I was just wondering if somebody else might want to have a look at them. An appraiser, if I may.
I would suggest probably the Mages Guild if they are magically inclined items. And if nothing else, in 4 days' time, there is the open market, which you will pass on your journey to the address that I have given you. And in there, they have an auction once every 10 days. You might find a buyer for your item if you can get a price for it.
Oh, thank you kindly.
If that concludes our business, gentlemen, I have paperwork that needs attending to.
Yes, there is everything. Good day.
As you are leaving, you notice the paperwork that he is doing is combing his mutton chops.
Nice.
I mean, I can't fault the gentleman.
You can't, can you?
I'll kind of like finger comb mine.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you can't fault him, honestly.
I mean, I trust that guy. I trust that guy more than I trust a lot of you.
Very understandable. We've only met a few days ago.
Something about those chops.
You know, wouldn't it be terrible if a terrible accident happened to those that are on your face?
Easy there,
Yeah,
Rashida. You don't want to go threatening a man's stash, you know.
I'm not threatening his stash. I'm just saying, like, what would you actually do if something actually happened to those?
Well, he'd grow more.
Yeah.
He's not an invalid.
But what if he suddenly were not able to?
I choose not to think about that, should I?
Fair enough.
Where are we headed exactly now?
Well, if you don't mind, I'd really prefer getting the problem that I'm facing checked out by a healer.
Alright. And
well, do you need us there, or would you rather go on your own?
I don't care.
It's just you seemed to be a little touchy about it earlier. I mean, you know, if you want, I can. You know, I'm not bad at healing and stuff, but you know, if you'd rather go to you know, someone of a more professional standard, then I do understand. Maybe I can go fetch some books with this one.
Sounds like a plan.
Alright. We'll accompany you towards the temple and then split off and meet back up there, I would say.
I mean, if you don't need a chaperone, I might just help look at the books as well. But yeah, if you feel threatened at all, then I can hang out outside, I suppose.
I'll be quite alright, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure too. This seems like a quiet town.
Yes.
Well, off we are then.
Quite so.
Okay. Walking through the town, unless you're interested in, you know, fishing equipment, fishing-related gossip, or a man who is recruiting for crew for his ship, there is nothing particularly interesting on your journey. You do pass stores that sell all of your basic provisions, so food and rations and that kind of thing. It does look like, as long as you are in Nota, the vast majority of everything that you get to eat is going to be fish or fish related. With an overabundance of potatoes for whatever reason. So, if everybody is happy with that, you would have arrived at the temple where Rashida is going to head in on her own, I believe.
Yes.
we'll meet back up with you after our business is concluded.
Sounds fair. Should we have a meetup point?
Just here, yeah, it's outside on the steps, I would say.
Alright.
We'll see you in a bit.
Aye.
So Rashida, you kind of climb the steps and open the doors into the temple, and there are the deep one who you had left here has now left. There are only 2 people in here at the moment, and Father Silverwind turns and goes, "Oh, our fair maiden, not with your travelling companions today."
Oh no, they went on to handle some business of their own for the moment. I, however, was wondering, you wouldn't happen to have any healer here present?
Yes, we could provide healing services. It's 50 gold per spell.
Alright.
Anyone in particular in need?
You'd be looking at her.
Well, if you just kindly sign in our donation book and place your tides in our tide box, and he opens up this large leather-bound document. You can see the names of everybody who's made a donation. Put your tide into our box. I can perform the appropriate ritual for curing wounds on yourself. Is it anything in particular you're after having healed? Some foul injury you've occurred on your adventures, or something a bit more?
These bugs rather, and they were kind of everywhere, and I think something got infected, and it just does not feel right.
Ah, so is it a disease, or is it a...
It's an injury. It goes kind of deep.
Ah, well, let me see what I can do for you. So I will take the coin from yourself first. You can step forward, and takes the 50 gold pieces.
Yep.
Off you and places it into the tide box, and then he casts Cure Wounds upon you. So you see him step back, and he makes there's a chant in his native tongue that you don't quite understand. It's more of a northern dialect than the one you're familiar with. And he makes a certain hand gesture, and you feel this warmth start to grow inside of you. And it hasn't quite solved all of your problems, but you feel about 20% better than you did before. Let's have a look at what he actually rolls. Yes, no. I can see your injuries were quite severe. I do believe a few more treatments would be able to solve this issue for you, but I can provide this service anytime you have the coin required.
Alright, fair enough. Well, I appreciate the help you've given me so far.
Oh, if you have any more that you wish to donate to our church, I can provide you with more services. I have at least 2 more opportunities to cast this spell today. I'm only granted with so much power from our deity. They have not chosen to give me more blessings than I receive at the moment. For I am but a humble father as opposed to a true cleric.
All fair. Well, for the moment, I wish you a good day. And I thank you for the
You
services.
too, my child, you too.
Yep, she's gonna head out and place her bum on the stairs and wait. For the others.
Okay. While she is waiting, you make your way back up the street, and not far from the temple, you notice a large building with 3 open walls. Would be this one here. And there is a stage as well as a pit in here. It looks like it is the auction site that was described before. I think further up, immediately to your left, this building here, is the Mages Guild. And as you pass it, there's a pungent smell of guano coming from a sack that is sat outside of its door. Someone is rapidly signing a letter for it, and he's got a gleam in his face and a certain fire burning behind his eyes. But not more than maybe 5 minutes or so later, you come to the address that Eldrin had requested.
Well, this appears to be the place.
Well, you gonna knock on then? No, just admire
Yes.
the building.
No, I will. I will go knock on the door, and I walk up to the door and I knock.
As you walk up, you notice that it's is a gargoyle holding the brass knocker in its mouth, and as you rap it on, the door seems to resonate slightly, giving this long hum after the initial clack. Maybe 30 seconds or so go by. The door swings open, and you can see down on the ground is a little cat who has stared up at you, kind of head cocked sideways, and it looks up you up and down, raises one paw, and gestures for you to come in.
It would appear that the owner of this place is of the mage variety as well, seeing as the familiar that greeted us. I will go inside. Are you coming with me?
I suppose can't let you get eaten by that fearsome beast.
Well, come on then.
Yeah, so you go in, and it's kind of it's not a massive building, but it's nicely furnished, and it's lit by several candles. Despite it being daylight outside, it seems all of the windows have been drawn shut. And a pale half-elf woman with long silver hair comes up and greets you and goes, "Ah, are you the buyer from the academy?"
Yes, I am. My name is Eldon Alain. I am here on behalf of the academy.
Alin. Yes, it was mentioned in the letter that I received that you would be coming by. Do you have the agreed upon sum of gold?
I do now.
Ah, sent unprepared as always.
You know how they are. They get caught up in their studies and.
I think the word you're looking for about the Canad Mages College is ill-organized. Regardless, I have the copies that you were interested in. I think 15 gold was the agreed upon sum for this particular text.
Yes, it was.
So
I produce 15 gold.
And then she uses mage hand, and her hand passes out, takes a book off a shelf, comes down, is placed in front of you, and the same mage hand picks up the coin, opens a bag on the side of her waist, and places the coin in there. And she goes, "Well, that concludes our business today. Is there anything else that I can help you with?"
Is there anything else you would like to provide? Any other tomes that I might, or me or the academy could be interested in? Any other magical trinkets or knickknacks? Although I might be in the business for some fine inks and parchment for copying spells.
Inks and parchment I can do. I also happen to have some rare chalks here. And if you are in need of an arcane focus, I can certainly provide you with that, as well as almost any potions or poisons that you might be in need of.
Well, that would maybe be more the business that my friends Mr. Borum and Mr. Ishmael might be interested in. I would take you up on the fine inks and parchments. I would need 150 gold worth. I said I do not have that amount. However, 50 gold. 50 gold.
50 gold is agreeable. I will give you what I have. My familiar will sort it out for you. If you follow her, you don't have to go too far. She will sort everything out. Doris is adorable, and she is quite adept when it comes to working things. It's amazing what a cat can do when you give her tums.
Yes, this would appear so. I will follow I hand over the 50 gold.
She uses her mage hand to pick up the coin.
Yes. And then I follow the cat to go get it.
So you don't go out. You're in the same room, but you've gone behind a bookshelf. But there's a few little holes you can see what's going on. It seems like most of her living space has been turned over to tomes. And while you're there, you've got a pretty high passive perception score. So you've noticed that she's picked up a lot of works of history in several different languages. Some of it is in Gnomish, some of it is in Elven. There's at least one language that is using Elven letters that you don't speak. Probably Drow. You would know enough to know that it's probably Drow, but you wouldn't know necessarily what it's actually saying.
As I'm looking around, do I see anything in abyssal or infernal?
Nothing that you haven't come across as being of that language, but not particularly, shall we say, pleasant.
Quick
Hmm.
question: Do we all sort of notice this, or is it just?
Yeah, no, you've all got pretty high passive perception.
All right. Well, then Borum's gonna turn to Ishmael and just say, "Hey, you were looking for someone who might know something about your, artifacts. She might be your woman, so to speak."
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, just a couple
Ah,
knickknacks that we picked up in the crypt not that long ago.
Sailor has come across a few items on his journey that he thinks I will be interested in. What have you got for me, dear salty fellow?
Mayhaps. First, I will pull out the pair of glass slippers. Um,
Hmm.
these were found floating in a half submerged crate that was pretty much nothing but mush. Don't know quite how old they are or how they got here. Thought they might be of interest to someone.
Let me have a
Well,
look.
the ruin we found them in was nigh on 1,000 years old. It's old Nota that came from.
Perhaps there is some magic in these then. She reaches out, waves her hands above the item, and this warm red, descending to deep purple light emits from the tips of her fingers and sort of scrolls in all the nooks and crannies of the item and goes, "They are certainly an aged item. No inherent magical properties to them, but certainly a curiosity worth adding to my collection. I'll give you 15 gold for the pair."
I think that's fair. I've got something else that might be of interest if you can make heads or tails of it. And I
Yeah,
pull
my
out
spell will last for a moment. Pull out the few that you have, and she continues weaving the spell between her fingers to keep the energy going.
I have in my inventory, and I don't remember what it is, a ruined book, which I think is one of the book that the shade was attempting to read.
Let me see. Ah, this was at one point a rather powerful spell tome. Appears time has sapped away most of what it can do. If I'm honest, I think the best you're going to get from this is a single use of the entangle spell. Doesn't happen to be on my list at the moment. I will give you 30 gold pieces for it.
Yeah, I have no use for it. I don't know, Eldon, if you could use it.
If it is technically a one use, it would still be copyable into my own spell book, but it would take some time and money to acquire the fine inks and parchments for it. I only now just manage to buy enough for the grease spell, we could hang on to it, and I could learn it eventually. I mean, Entangle is a very handy spell.
Yes, the ability to have plants do what you want is something that I envy druids for.
Perhaps I'll hang on to that for a bit longer, but
You
Uh,
do not have it in your spellbook at the moment, you said, in your list.
No.
Well, I am still lacking the Find Familiar spell. I never quite got around to it during my academy days.
Tell you what, how about you perform an errand for me, and in exchange, as opposed to monetary financial exchange, I will teach you the Find Familiar spell, as well as provide you with the components that you will require to cast it, and the materials to add it to your book.
What would his errand be?
There have been reports from the far north of this island by fishermen of an appearance of phase spiders. These creatures have a tendency to exist around ley lines, but it is unusual for them to be present in such numbers for juveniles. Go and find out what the source of these is. I would be worried about the potential implications of such a dangerous creature so close to my city.
That does seem pretty agreeable to me, at least. What do you think, Mr. Borum, Mr. Ishmael?
Well, it's not a small ask. They're dangerous creatures, you know. They can grow up to be 30 foot across, those, and they can teleport.
we had a bit of a run-in back in the early days of us meeting each other.
Ah, that one almost ripped you in half, didn't it?
It nearly did.
Well, while they are still juvenile, you have a few months before they will, or at least the reports say juvenile, but if there are juveniles, there's probably a breeding pair. You have a few months before they will become an infestation level threat. Perhaps you go off, and when you are feeling more suitably equipped for such a dangerous task, you return to me, and my offer will still stand.
Well, we weren't looking to spend that much time in town. We've got a ride out in about 10 days, so
Oh, how about this? In addition to teaching your companion to find familiar spell and providing him with the materials to do so, for each vial of poison that you can bring me back from the phase spiders, I will pay 10 gold pieces up to a limit of 500 gold pieces.
have you got some vials that we can, you know, maybe purchase off you at a discount?
Yes.
We need to source the vials ourselves.
No, I can arrange for some glass to be brought out for you. I happen to have someone in my stead who has a fair amount of proficiency with glassblowers tools. He will be able to make them. You may want to acquire yourself either a ship or a donkey to carry the weight, depending on how you intend to get to this cave. But I might advise you speak with some of the locals in the tavern. See if you can get any more details on exactly where it was that these creatures were spotted.
Somewhere to the north, you said, though.
Yes, like the rumors are that there is a cave to the far north along the coastline that the webbing has been noticed in, and the unusual blue shimmer would indicate that it is a phase spider, which are both valuable and, as you have so rightly put it, exceptionally dangerous. And while I do not lord over this town, I have a vested interest in its walls remaining defended.
Ah, well, quite so. I suppose we can look into this by all means. I can't promise we'll eradicate them, but we can certainly do our best to investigate what caused them to appear here.
I would be grateful.
Yes.
There is a great use for phase spider venom. A good amount of demand for it. So what you can bring me, I would be more than able to make back my compensation for what I've paid you. You get a spell and some coin, and it will get you on your way to escaping Nota, if that is your intended destination.
Well, quite so. About this this glassware, do we owe you anything for it, or are we calling it an investment?
Let's call it an investment. I trust a man who has been clearly chosen by at least one god, and by your armor and your shield. Is it not true that members of the Brewistery are taught not to lie in a deal?
Well, I mean, we do our best, but yeah. I mean, you know, lying is generally frowned upon, and lying in a deal is just bad form. I mean, if you look at it on a broader scale, you see, if everyone were to lie in deals, then there is no trust, and without trust, you cannot have even the simplest form of society. It just doesn't work.
I guess the way I should have phrased it is...
It's not so much an ethical demand of Hanseath as a pragmatic observation of the Order that if everyone's going to be half drunk all the time, we're going to need to at least try and be honest, so no one will remember what's up and what's down.
Oh, you do tickle me so. We could do with a bit more honesty where I come from. But regardless, unless you have any more questions for me, I do think you pointed out that perhaps your companion wanted to ask some questions. Or do you have anything else that you would like to trade with me? Did you say your name was?
No,
Oh, me.
Mutton chopped man.
Oh, yeah, no.
Shut
Ishmael,
up.
go ahead.
Talking to me.
Sorry.
Or she-
Sorry, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, as Borum said, my name's Ishmael. But no, those are the only items of interest that I've come across recently that I thought somebody else may have a better use for.
Anything else you find that is old and historic, pass it to me. I tend to have a little bit of a personal interest in collecting things. I try to pride myself on this place looking like you could come into it and find just about anything. I mean, I'm fairly certain there's an imp in here, and I haven't seen him in at least 6 months. Some things become invisible, you see.
Seems like quite the pain.
Oh, yes, they are. Imps are, well, they are called
Impish.
imps. They're called imps for a reason, and there is the saying being impish for a reason.
Yes, but it is useful to have somebody who can listen to others' conversations without being heard. Just need to be able to find him to get the reports out of him afterwards.
Yes.
Try little pieces of bacon. They go mad for bacon, imps, in my experience.
I will
That-
keep that in mind. That is good advice.
Well, I don't think so. I am the foremost diabologist of the academy, and I can certainly say that I have not had any experience with the imps reacting anywhere near stronger towards bacon, of all things.
I mean, have you ever
Inch?
tried?
Well, I mean, I have tried. Diabologist, I tried things. But no. Not really, no.
I mean, maybe it was just the one that lived at the Brewistery. Right, mischievous little rascal he was. But yeah, you get those little bits of bacon, you know, the fancy stuff. Them what they call lardons, and yeah, just you could just tease them out and just be like, you make this little noise like, and he would just come running. And he's still invisible, like he'd just pluck the little piece of bacon out your fingers, but then you could get him to do whatever you needed to do, you know.
It living at a place called the Brewistery would explain a lot of this behavior then.
Well, he was formerly attached to one of the head brewers in an arcane deal that happened long before my time there. But due to the terms of this deal, he ended up bound to the structure itself. It's quite a long story.
I will keep that in mind, but...
He's practically part of the furniture now. Spends
Well-
most of his time tormenting the initiates.
Oh, they do so love that. Well, did Mr. Ishmael have anything else he wanted to ask?
Oh, I guess it's just the slippers.
Just the slippers.
For the time being, anyway.
Well, I don't believe that I have introduced myself. My
I was
name
about to
is
ask.
Sabence Zuania.
Come again?
Sabence Zuania. Let me write that down for you. That's it. SABINCE ZOOUNIE.
Hey, you making this up as you go along?
No, it is my
Sure.
name. I have had it for a great many years. Just the letters in your language are different to mine.
That is
You
very
come
true.
from the
Mr.
Underdark. It is hard to learn what you call common.
Oh, there's no need to be coy. I mean, I hardly call myself an expert, but I speak a passable undercommon if it would make you more comfortable.
Ah, and then she responds in Undercommon. It would. It has been a great length of time since I have had the opportunity to speak my mother tongue. Very few here, with the exception of the occasional dwarf, have learnt our language.
Borum responds in the same language, but not quite as not just not
As
quite, but
polished.
nowhere near as fluent. It's like, you know, a Yorkshireman speaking French. And he's sort of like, we do quite a bit of trade with the Undercommon at the Brewistery for our more exotic ingredients. So it's a part of our, you know, standard training to learn the basics.
Your grasp is better than you think, but your should be deeper. Lean into the dwarvish. You'll get there. It is remarkably pleasant to have such a chance to speak to someone.
Well, your pointers are much appreciated. Our main conversationalists at the time were goblins.
Yes, that is.
Everything from a goblin sounds like a bloody screech.
Yes, I'm not going to lie, it does. The few encounters I've had with them that didn't end fiery, ended shouty. One exception. I did once encounter a band of goblins who were made up of mostly traveling clerics and druids. They were remarkably pleasant people.
I don't believe it.
Well, most of the goblins we would encounter were basically traders, you know, so they were. I mean, they wouldn't be full enough to try and assault the Brewistery. And, I mean, why would you want to? I mean, we freely share and trade what we create, so with all species who come with a mind of peace. It's one of our main tenets.
And I've sailed with a goblin here, there, and I mean, they're fine enough to work with, but you do find that extra rations go missing in the morning, overnight, so...
While I do find this conversation very interesting, I personally am going to head out and find Miss Rashida and discuss these things with her. Feel free to stay with Miss Zuania for a while. Miss Zuania, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for the business, and I look forward to future cooperations.
Well, we don't go so fast. To the miss, we're off to probably down to the bar to try and see what we can find out about this cave. But if you want, come and come with us. I mean, it's a horrible dive of a place with, you know, something of a charm. But you know, the ale is something I brewed up myself, and it's not bad.
I appreciate the offer, but perhaps I will join you after sunset.
Well, we may have left town by then because we are, as I said, on something of a limit. And if we're to make it to this cave, we may need to get our hustle on.
Perhaps then you make a point to go to Blackfield Company. The Mercenaries Guild here has a habit of knowing everything that's going on.
That's good advice, actually. Suppose we can get some information from those bozos, if nothing else.
Yes, they are good. They are good at talking and boasting, and useful in a scrap should you wish to hire an extra sword arm. Think of it as an investment in your return.
I don't know if we can afford to promise much at this point. We've had a rough time of it up to now. Shipwrecked, lost on a few islands, running a cropper of all sorts of beasts.
Well,
Reminds me, actually. I'm gonna pull out the Kraken necklace that I took from like the first tower
Hag.
that we went to. I don't think it was the hag. I think it was the tower with the spider and the skeletons that we fought, and the mural of the war.
okay. This is an interesting trinket. Are you interested in selling it, or do you want to know a little behind its history?
Both. I don't have a use for it. Barham just mentioned, and it kind of got the gears working again. That, yeah, we were shipwrecked for a while, and in one of the towers in one of the islands that we found ourselves on, is just full of all kinds of dastardly ghouls and that phase spider, actually. And the skeletons had this around their necks, and not a symbol that I'm familiar with. And it seemed like quite the old tower.
Yes, I will spend another spell slot on this. She pulls out, places a book on the table, kind of draws a little energy out of the book, and it kind of flicks through a couple of symbols, settling on the one that is on the locket that she is holding. She goes, it appears that it belongs to a circle of a hag coven, but that this hag coven belongs furthest to the north. Unusual find. It seems that some of the hags have decided to make a move towards Nota. Unusual. Not intrinsically valuable, but for the oddity, I will give you 10 silver pieces.
Yeah, by all means. I've got enough to remember the hags by, and I'll point to the scar on my throat.
That will certainly do it. That will certainly do it. She uses her mage hand to take the item, passes you the silver down as well.
There was one other thing you might be interested in if you've got some free time over the next few days. We encountered this, creature, some kind of deep one from the elemental plane of water, had been trapped here since the very cataclysm.
Ah, that was you who brought my new friend to town.
Oh, you've met. Oh, delightful. Yes, no, I was just going to say we dropped him off at the temple because they were going to help him get back home and whatnot. But I thought you might find it very interesting to have a little chat with him, given your interest.
Was deeply interesting. Eventually, we successfully performed the banish spell on him, and he has returned to his own realm. But he gave us a great deal of knowledge before he left. We now know far more about why the waters continue to rise. Potentially a way to stop it, although that is in its infancy.
Well, worthy pursuit, and I'm glad we could help in any kind of way. And I'm also glad you managed to get him back home. He must be very pleased.
Aye.
He seemed like the most homesick gentleman, I must say.
Yes, living for 1,000 years on a realm where you can't age or die seems like its own personal form of hell.
Well, hopefully he's, back somewhere that looks a little more like home.
I agree. But the one thing that I would worry about is if 1,000 years has gone by where he's from, while he's gone back to that land, it really a home? Much of his culture has changed. But we cannot know these things, for sending to another realm is dangerous at the best of times.
And
I did give him
time is,
contact details if he wanted to turn.
time is very transient between them as well.
Yes.
1,000 years here might not be a minute there. You don't know.
Without traveling there, it is hard to know. I believe it is the nature of our realm, because it is an amalgamation of all the others, that while we experience time in a straight sickle line, the realms are not bound to such order.
Well, these kind of debates could keep us here all night, but we have business to attend to and some vials to fill with venom, unless I recall incorrectly. Is the arrangement to have the vials dropped off at the inn and then us pick them up there, or shall we take them from your possession?
It will take a few hours to have so many produced. I have some of them already. How about round sunset you come back to me with your decision on, do you want to go on a donkey or do you want to hire a ship? And then I will arrange to have the vials loaded onto whatever transportation you take. For as stout as you are, dwarf, do not think you are going to be able to carry 500 glass vials without breaking them on.
I thought it was 50 glass vials. Hang on.
Yes, no, my apologies. The 500 is the maximum amount of gold that I was going to pay you. Still, 50 glass
Still a
vials
lot,
seems
yeah.
like a task.
Yeah, no, but I was just thinking, Ishmael, have we still got? Oh no, we don't, do we? No, never mind. No, sorry, I just had a Hans teeth moment. It doesn't matter, Ishmael. Ignore me. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yes, we're gonna go and think on.
On the beach. So
Yeah, turned it into a shrine. Yeah, no, I
Yep.
remember. Yep. Sorry, there was a party. It was a good party. Anyway, we're gonna go and think on that donkey versus ship options. I'm thinking donkey myself. Can you rent a donkey around here?
No, but the stables will sell you one. I think their prices are quite reasonable. When I've had need of the creatures in the past, I've paid no more than 25 gold.
Well,
When you're buying an animal simply to slaughter, you don't need one in working condition anymore.
well, I mean, maybe we can buy a donkey and sell it back. You never know.
Yes, that seems fair. Maybe you can buy a donkey and sell it back.
Anyway, let's go find the others, Ishmael. It looks like Eldon's tired of this conversation and wandered off. So,
aye,
They'll probably be back at the inn by now.
Yeah, well, we'll pass by the temple anyway, and if we don't see them, I guess we'll meet them by the inn. Of course, I mean, we had other errands to run, so...
Did we? What else is on the list?
Oh, we're gonna stop by the, Carpenters Guild, possibly. The Blackfield Company is actually on our list of things to maybe inquire about.
Well,
I
but I think
if
we
we're set on phase spiders, then,
well
guess
we
we'll see a
need
man
to
down
speak
an
to the
ass.
Blackfield Company about the phase spiders because they'll know where the cave is because they're canny about that kind of thing. But we need the others really. I don't want to have to listen to it all and then tell it all to them again. We'll just go get them and then take them to the Blackfield Company.
Aye, well, hopefully they're still kicking around by the temple.
Right, let's go. Lovely to meet you, Miss. I'm terribly sorry. The only part of your name that I can recall is Zoo.
Sabanis.
That's it, Sabanese. Lovely to meet you. Fascinating conversation, and then he switches to Undercommon and says, "And your criticism is much appreciated, and it's lovely to have some practice. Have a lovely evening."
Anytime, my friend, anytime. As you leave, the cat comes and pushes the door shut behind you. You kind of travel on back into the town amongst yourselves, and you meet back the four companions meeting up once again at the steps to the temple as was previously agreed upon.
Mr. Borm, Mr. Ishmael, I've just been conversing a little with Miss Rushida over here. I presume that the rest of the conversation went well.
Well, aye. Fascinating lady, I must say. She met our friend. Well, I mean, you didn't, but Rashida, you remember, Deep One from the island with the fish people and
Aye.
the turtle people, and yeah, she met him and they had a lovely chat, and they sent him back. He's all back in elemental plane of water,
Mhm.
having
Glad
a
to hear
lovely.
where he belongs and where he wanted to go. It's hard to forget
Yeah.
him, really.
Also, apparently, the waters from the cataclysm are still rising, and that's actually kind of worrying. We kind of glossed over that because I didn't realize that was a thing. Up in the mountains, we don't really hear that much about it, but apparently, the water's still rising, which is a thing. So, but yeah, apparently, this guy knew about maybe some way of stopping that, so that's good news. Maybe we won't all drown.
I mean, that does explain the degree of the gangplanks that I've had to walk of the later years. Never really thought about it before.
You're not too eager to have your brewster return into, oceanfront anytime soon, are you?
Well, I mean, no.
Understandable, honestly.
Very understandable.
I can't blame you.
I grew very accustomed to the mountain views,
I mean, it's supposed to just be a lot
and
of...
I don't tan well.
Wouldn't it be a lot of just spiky islands if the ocean got up there?
Well, yes.
Well, I mean, if the worst comes to worst, if that does happen, maybe you'll succeed in turning the entire ocean into beer.
Oh, bother.
Oh Lord.
Oh, you've been listening to old Farknort. He used to go on about turning the entire inland sea into beer. He seemed to think it was the only way of truly demonstrating our undying loyalty to Handseath and bringing peace to all the realms. And
It's-
Sure, if
it's a
you
lovely
want to.
idea.
One of the
He's
first things I
kind of
remember you
crazy.
saying on our heat stroke on the ship.
I mean, to be fair, it would make Canada a lot more livable if everyone's just drunk down there. Or up there.
Certainly.
Right? No one's
Maybe
going to
they
be
will
off
spend more
fighting
time-
wars.
Maybe they'll spend more with their heads spinning instead of up their arses.
Right?
Anyway, Rashida, are you all hunky dory?
Not entirely, no, but I'm doing a lot better.
I mean, did you find out? You know, is there anything I can do to help?
We'll see about that.
I mean,
Did-
you know, I know some healing magics. You know, with the gifts of the gods and whatnot. I can, you know, if that's what it requires.
Did the father not heal you properly? Instantly, I mean.
Not entirely, no, but you know, why don't... Let's visit this topic again when perhaps I'm not sober.
Well, I can help
Sure.
with that.
It just seems a bit strange that Mr. Borum and Mr. Pillbottom were able to heal instantly, while this man does not
Frankly,
appear
it
to
seemed
be.
as if it cared more about coin than actually helping people, but...
Lovely. Well,
Well, you know, some just to stand in defense of you know, the Church of the Triad. You know, whilst not every, you know, father has access to infinite magical glory and whatnot, they do all do good work in the community. That money will go towards feeding and clothing people that would otherwise be destitute. You know,
I...
I'll
whilst
see it when I
you know.
believe it.
Yeah, I'm sort of on the same coin there, Aiden. Well then, I think for now or in the future, it's better if I just get drunk and just let you help me bottom. And
Well,
forget
I
about it
mean,
later on.
we can do all of those things. Although you two should also, well, I mean, Eldon, I think you know about this. Did you tell her? So
Oh yes,
phase spiders.
I was working up to that. Miss Rashida, how are you with phase spiders?
Well, generally, I'm currently not really a big fan of bugs. And there was that one spider we saw in that place, wasn't there? That
Yeah.
dark cavern.
Yeah,
where we
it's
found the
same
bones.
kind, same
Definitely
kind,
the one.
exact same kind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tom- We might have some bad news.
I think one of you mentioned that it was a face spider, and I kind of recognized the name. I'm not too eager on it, but perhaps we do better with an extra person within our group, and also with proper weaponry instead of rusted pieces
Yes,
of shite.
we have been asked to clear out a small brood of them
Well,
up north on
that's-
the island and
That's
collect
not quite
its venom.
accurate.
Oh, did
We've
you
been
say
asked to
Find out what-
investigate. Yeah.
Yes, to investigate. But and then we were tasked with also retrieving the venom. So I
Well,
thought,
Yes,
Did you
we're
say
not
brew?
killing. We're not killing the
well,
spiders.
you-
We're just
the
milking
little
them.
ones.
Did you say
We will
brew
be
of-
killing the spiders.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, but they're juveniles, so they're probably not going to be 30 foot across. You know, they'll be smaller and
Like
easier to
50.
deal
Oh,
with.
so instead of 30 foot, they're only what, 5 foot? That's
Yeah,
not
Yeah,
exactly bad.
Look-
five,
look on-
5 to 10 foot. You know,
Look on the bright side. They can't swarm us in the same way that we've been swarmed before. They can't crawl all over us.
You're
they can
all full of-
teleport though.
You are all full of terrible ideas, you know that, right?
Oh yes.
The good news is they've donated 50 vials for us to fill with their poison, which we can trade for up to 500 gold, depending on how much we bring back, which will
top of
see
that-
us pretty all the way to Cannon, and
I
where
hate
we
all
can.
of you with my entire being, and you know that, right? You are
Yes.
all just the equivalent of a bad idea in person form.
We
You're
need a
collective of bad
donkey though.
ideas.
We just need a donkey
Why do we need a donkey?
For what?
to carry the glass vials.
Oh, I have a
How
spell
big
for
are
that.
the glass vials?
You have a spell?
Oh yeah, I
I
can
mean,
cast.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sound so surprised. You are, after all, a wizard. But what spell is that, sir?
Well, I can. The original spell was called Tensor's Floating Disc, but it's by now just referred to the name as Floating Disc. If you give me a second, I can cast it.
Well, I mean, hold fire. Wait until we've got the glass vials, and
Um,
don't waste it.
How large are the glass vials for us to need
I
a
mean-
donkey for it?
Well, there's 50 of them, and they're just a little weighty. It's not like I can carry them all myself.
Yeah, but how large are they to require a donkey? Because I'm thinking glass vial, like this big roughly, and it like makes like a 2-inch size, like with her hand. Rather thin. Not. It sounds like they're basically we're gonna carry around small barrels of poison. Which makes me ask again, how
yes.
large are the spiders?
Miss Rashida, I believe that we'll not get loose files. We'll probably get carrying boxes with files to make sure those don't shatter. And those boxes are a bit bigger since, in my experience, they hold a number of vials at the same time.
Okay. Bottom, you see this man here? And she points towards Ellen. This man here makes sense. Be more like him, yeah?
What do you mean? I mean, he was explaining the whole time. I was just filling in little details.
You're not helping.
You're not helping.
No, I'm not. It's a terrible idea. I don't want to be part of it, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Am I not?
But to answer your question, the disc I can create is 3 feet in diameter. It's about 1 inch thick, and it floats about 3 feet above the ground. And it can carry up to, I would say, 500 pounds, I would presume.
Well, I'll probably do, actually.
Yes.
I mean, it's not as cute as a donkey, but,
How long will this little magic doohickey last?
An hour. And I don't
Oh.
need to keep my concentration on it. I create it, and it floats with us.
How long is it gonna
How-
take for it to reach the spiders?
Yeah.
Well, maybe a couple of days. I mean,
Well, I can keep costing it.
I mean, I suppose we'll take the disc down
Enough.
to the face spider nest instead of the donkey.
Oh yeah, keep the donkey outside, keep it alive.
This is
Hmm.
one of the spells I can cast ritually with my spell book, so I don't have to expend my spell reserves.
we
for it.
can't spend 10 minutes out of every hour waiting for you to cast this again. We need a donkey. All right. Here.
Well,
Who wants
you
wants
say
to
we
buy a
can't.
donkey?
well, you say we can't wait, but it is certainly doable. So, and it would save us money.
Bottom, are you for sale? Because we
Not that much money. I mean, you know what? I will buy us a donkey, and I will take responsibility for the little fella. And when it comes time, I will sell him back to the stables when we come time to leave.
All right, but then from henceforth, I will not advertise my spells.
No, I
This
mean,
way.
don't take it personally. I mean, your spell will definitely come in handy. We can't be, using all your magical power just to do this. If you're gonna have to cast a spell every hour, it's not really feasible. I
Well,
mean,
it
I'm
takes
just
me time,
thinking,
so-
in the long run, I'm thinking of your well-being. And plus, we are on a time limit. If we had all the time in the world, by all means, we could do that. But as it stands, we've got a boat coming in 10 days. We've got to traipse all the way across this bloody island to fight some spiders and then come back. And, I
Are you
mean,
sure
alright.
you just don't really want a donkey?
gods forbid, what if we fight the spiders and you're killed and then we're stuck there with no donkey and all these vials of poison?
Oh, thank you for being so forthcoming.
I'm just trying
Or-
to be pragmatic here. Like, understand. Like, I'm not demeaning your magical ability, but we can't rely on it solely for everything because we live
it's
dangerous
no problem.
lives.
It is no
We-
problem, Mr.
We're
Borg.
fighting for money.
I'm just very glad you have put so much faith in me.
You're a valuable member of this party, Eldin. I know you're recent to it, but you've more than proven yourself. But
Well,
I'm just saying,
recall only a
we
day
can't
ago,
put all our eggs in any one basket.
I do remember, not 2 days ago, you suggesting that my magic was not up to your standards, and I should.
I'm just gonna.
That's
back
not
out of
quite
this
what
before
I
you guys
said.
Fly together.
No, that's not quite what I said. I think you've taken my words slightly out of context there. what I was saying was that wizards can have a tendency to overextend themselves, meddle with powers that they don't have the control over, and can end up doing frightful harm.
Oh no, that's
He gestures around at the inland sea, flooding a whole country.
Eldon goes like, "Oh no, I was not referring to that. I might misquote this, but well, Eldon, it seems that if the magic or mage business is not correctly working out for you, you can always weigh your options of becoming an adventurer instead." That is the conversation I was talking about.
I've wandered away and I'm looking at the different shapes of clouds and just trying to distance myself from this brewing fight.
well, Mr. Borum, I will end this conversation. You said we had to go to the Blackfield Company, so let's do that.
No ill will here. I respect you and your choices, and you've obviously put a lot of work into it. I just, I would counsel caution, as I do to all people in all things, mostly, except for when it comes to drinking.
I thank you for your counsel, and I will apologize if I took things the wrong way.
Anyway, to the Blackfield Company, friends.
To the Blackfield Company.
Okay. You wander through the town. As you do, you pass several different traders. It does look like they're doing pretty well. On the way, you pass the Carpenter Guild if you are interested in heading through. I know it was on your list. Otherwise, we can jump straight over to the Blackfield Guild Hall.
I would say jump straight over.
As we're passing by the
sorry.
carpenters, like I don't want to stop in because I know we're like moving fast, but did they have like display chunks of wood just kind of lingering about?
Yes. So as you pass by, it looks like most of what they do is operate a shipwright, or at least ship repairs. But there are a couple of true artisans in here who are actively making a carving out of a large stump of an ebony tree. And it looks like they've got a couple of apprentices who are lined up outside who are cutting the same mortise and tenon joint into pieces over and over just till they get them perfect, while being driven by a rather stern-looking halfling master carpenter who is walking around and critiquing one thing after another with his tiny calipers out, making sure that everyone is exact and quickly wrapping those who are wrong with a switch.
Okay. But is there like a chunk of wood that's like 3 inches thick, about 5 inches long? Just some scrap lying around, or possibly?
Yeah, no. You would be able to acquire this piece of scrap. In fact, there's enough variety kicking about that there is one of ash, one of mahogany, and one of ebony.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to like swipe a hunk of ebony.
Give me sleight of hand check, so you do it without getting spotted.
19.
Yeah, no, nobody cops what you're doing, and it seems like everybody carries on about their business without paying too much attention to the man with the mutton chops.
Yeah, just walking past, I'm just like a cat knocking something off a shelf, but a piece of wood into my pocket, just very lightly. Don't even stop. Don't make eye contact.
Just keep going.
Yep.
Okay. All right. With that, we have come up to the 8:30 moment, folks. Let's take 5 minutes so I can go pee, and then we'll come back and we will do Blackfield Company.
Oh, right.
We'll do the entirety of it live.
What?
Great big. Are we still live?
No. Yes, I mean, yes, we are.
Wait, are we live or not?
We are. I said wrong.
Oh,
I'm not gonna make that joke then, because
Just phrase it in a way that makes it not explicit.
there isn't a way.
Oh, okay.
There's
We're
no
not
way.
gonna be live in too long. Okay, well, yes.
Ass.
BC.
Gonna hard swear like ass.
It looks like we're on-
Asinine.
It looks like
Oh no.
We're live. Okay.
We're live.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the second half of tonight's episode. We're going to run for about another 45 minutes. We're picking up from where we left off with our companions still having their conversation outside of the temple, but they're slowly heading in the direction of the Blackfield Company. They decided it's a good idea to follow up on their new patron's request and look into getting some more information about what's available over on that place. I will pass back across to them as they pass through the busy streets of Nota, heading towards a building in the top left corner.
So, right, everyone, the plan, we need information from the Blackfield Company. We are not looking for employment. We don't need to be mercenaries for these lot. We've got our own business.
That is true, but Mr. Borm, if I might, I had a small niggling of an idea.
Aye.
What if the Blackfield Company has a small regiment or a group of adventurers similar to us that is already going to investigate the face spider problem? We could ask them to accompany them on this journey, but instead of getting paid, we'll say we'll just want the venom from these spiders, like we have to collect for our new acquired mage friend, Miss Zonia.
I mean,
That way, we won't take their pay away, and we get paid for the venom we collect. And we'll have a bit more muscle with us.
Can Rosh, should I hear this?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Rosh is gonna butt in and he's like give him a weird look and he's go, so you're just expecting them not to be suspicious whatsoever when we ask to, just take highly poisonous poison as payment to like just random strangers taking this what I assume is very dangerous liquid from
No,
these
we
dangerous creatures.
would say that we are collecting the poison for our contractor.
and you'd be surprised how far just being a cleric gets you.
I mean, that's already been proven, but, I'm somewhat skeptical they're just gonna let us walk away with this, dangerous substance, but you never know.
Well, we'll see where things land, and if otherwise we'll just have to go alone, fight these spiders on our own lonesome with the four of us.
I mean, you never know. There may be some way of getting some venom without having to fight a horde of spiders, but
Yes.
I'm not super optimistic. But
Maybe they
Either
have a
way.
big one. Instead of fighting a horde of little ones, we just fight one big one and milk that one.
honestly, I'm not sure which of those seems worse. I'm just hoping
Me
it's
neither.
not both. Because where you find little ones, there's always big ones.
Yes.
I'm thinking hopefully we can get enough from the little ones and we don't have to fight the big one.
Yes. So. Yep. Let's carry onwards.
But for now, yes, to the Blackfield Company. We need information on this cave and anything else that's in it.
And if we are going to be fighting these spiders, we at least know what we're up against, and we can get some pertinent information that will make it a lot easier to do.
Aye, yeah, they may have weaknesses. We may be able to procure stuff. That lady we were just talking to, that zoo lady, she had all the well, not quite all, but she had access to a lot of potions and poisons and whatnots. And you know, if we can find a weakness in this thing, we may be able to get a little pizzazz from her.
Worst things come to shove, we can set the entire cave on fire. Enough webs to burn.
Please
Well,
avoid the fire.
I mean, there is that, but remember, we do have to extract this poison afterwards, so we'll
Yeah,
need more than
Yeah,
just
burning is
charcoal.
not a good
Not be
idea.
viable.
I was thinking from an exterminator standpoint, not from I need to collect the poison
If
standpoint.
we're going to burn it,
Mm.
let's do it when we're all far away from the cave or nest or whatever the thing lives in.
Yes.
Hell,
Like a little fire is okay, but just
You're lucky I'm not one of the pyromaniacs or
Are you not?
pyromancers. No, I'm not.
Are you sure?
There are, and he makes air quotes, pyromancers back at the Mages Guild in Kennet that have a real love for their flame, and they're not so easily persuaded out of using it.
Oh god, that sounds...
If you don't mind me
yes.
asking, what was your speciality?
I am quite a universal mage on my own, but I'm a professor. And if you want to ask what field I teach, I am the chief librarian and diabologist on campus.
So your expert is just demons, no particular school of magic or
devils.
anything.
Not a particular school of magic. I learned students how to not enter deals with devils and demons and other fiends of the variety.
Hmm.
And I teach them besides not making deals, I teach them the corrupting nature of certain types of magic, and even if used in the noblest of choices, might lead to dire results for the caster or the people involved.
Ah,
And how do you know
deals
this?
with hungry creatures tend to lead to ill results.
Yes. One of the main things I keep telling them is that if push comes to shove and you have to make a deal with the devil, since they'll at least adhere their contracts. Demons, they disregard anything. They're not bound by laws.
If you need power, just ask the gods. They are generous to those that deserve it, and those that don't, well, they don't have any business with it.
That is very true. But it is often as they say, or it's not often as they say, but alleyways are often shortcuts, and alleyways are often dimly lit.
It's the ironic thing, Most wizards I've met who really put the time in, they have all the qualities required of one that would receive a god's benevolence, and yet they choose to find it via other means. I think it must be pride.
Sometimes it's pride, sometimes it is the only choice, sometimes it is a simple mistake one made, and sometimes it's greed. Sometimes wizards of high caliber seek to grow further, but the gods look down and say, no more for mortal men. Some power should not belong in your hands, and they seek dark powers. 1 second. Yeah.
Well, your wisdom and self-examination is quite impressive, I must say. You grow every day in my eyes. Well, your ability to look at the wizarding profession from a somewhat objective standpoint and not take criticism of it too personally. It's
as
a wisdom
teacher,
that belies your profession.
As a teacher, I'm a teacher first and foremost. And as a teacher, you have to be able to look objectively at these things to make sure students do not make the same mistakes as the people you're talking about in the history books.
Quite so.
So,
Anyway, it
while
seems we're here.
while you are speaking, you've made your way over to the Blackfield Company, and you can see in through two broad windows on either side that there are only two people inside at the moment, despite seating arrangements for a great many more. One is stood behind the counter. She is female, red hair with war paint on her face, and the other is a wild-haired, quite broad-shouldered man wearing a jerkin, carrying a large axe on his back. And they turn as you enter, and he steps forward and goes, "Aye, new recruits. We're in need of some soldiers." He's quickly cut off by the woman behind him and goes, "Brian, you speak to the fresh meat. That's the order of things around here. Go sharpen your axe. We might have need for you." She comes over and greets you. She goes, "Hail, I'm Commander Mansfield. How can I help?"
Well, your man's kind of off. We're not new recruits. We're just here in search of information. We are independent actors.
Yes.
It's a shame because I have a great deal of work that I need doing and a great deal of coin that I'm willing to pay for it.
Oh, well, I'm not. And Alan looks awkwardly around himself. Well, Mr. Borm, you take the helm in this conversation.
Well, I mean, I don't presume to speak for everyone, but as far as I understood it, we already have an engagement to go somewhere north, and we were just looking for some information that we figured you lot would have. We're not opposed to doing work, you know, but we are not. All of us have prior engagements that preclude us signing on for a long-term contract. You understand?
Well, my job would also have you go north. Perhaps you could do both.
Perhaps. What job is this you speak of?
A couple of months ago, we were hired by a group of interested scholars to secure and help them do an excavation of an old ruin near the heartlands of Nota. It's about a day's travel north of here. In the last week, we have sent out 4 batches of recruits carrying carts, as was agreed. However, 3 of them should have returned in the last 2 days, and they have not. It means I'm now desperately undermanned. Need someone to go out to depot, find out what's going on, and then use a scroll to send me back a message confirming what's happened to my soldiers. I would provide the scroll, and you would be paid 50 gold pieces to go and deliver such a message. And if my soldiers are in need of rescue, you would be paid another 50 gold pieces per head that you can bring back to our cause.
I presume attached to the bodies.
Yes.
I would assume so, yes, Mr.
Preferably still conscious.
All right. Well,
Fine, but dead will only earn you a percentage payment.
provided this is on the understanding that this is no sign-on for necessary further work, I don't see that as.
You would be outsider contractors.
Yeah, I don't see that as counteracting our aims. And where exactly is this place? You said a day's march north.
Almost due north from here. You follow the main road out of Notha. You'll come to a windmill. Take the right at the windmill. Follow the line of the hills, and you'll see a chalet in the forest old ruins, 3 buildings dotted around close to each other. Once you get to the windmill and you take that turn, it's not hard to find.
Okay, and I'll tell you what, we will do this on the proviso that you lend us a donkey for transport of our gear that will be very necessary. We'll bring it back in one piece, or we'll pay the cost of a new one.
I'll give you a cart and 2 oxen, and you can bring a delivery of goods out there as well. Saves you walking.
Nah, I suppose that'll do.
And then you can even use it for your journey after. Can't get too far away on an island, and my oxen are trained well enough that they'll come back to Nota should anything happen to you.
Well, that's
And
reassuring.
We would still get paid if we deliver the scroll and hand it to the people we're sending back so we can continue onwards.
Yes, just make sure you hand it to somebody wise enough to actually be able to use the thing.
Hopefully we'll meet someone wise enough.
Well, okay. So now that's out of the way, which we will gladly do. And if you could just mark the place on my map, just so.
Not a problem.
Wait, I don't have a map.
Ah.
Damn. It got washed away in the shipwreck. Sorry, I forgot. I was so used to having my map, and it's just like a thing that you just go, oh yeah, mark, but no, it got. We were taken prisoner. It's a long story. Anyway, do you have a map we could have?
Don't happen to have a map of Nota itself, but I can give you a map of the Isles as a whole, if that would interest you.
That'll do.
Obtain in the surrounding area.
Well, yeah, no, that'll come in handy. How much does that cost me?
Let's call it your investment for this journey. It can be part of your payment, and we'll take 20 gold out of your eventual payment. Is that agreeable enough?
I suppose.
Slightly leans over to Ishmael and just whispers, "We're picking up an awful lot of investments, aren't we?"
Oh, but a lot of investments is a lot of coin.
That's true.
All right. Well, yeah, I suppose we'll take it. We need a map.
Good. Glad I could help. And she hands you a map. You get to have a look at it. Do you want to see it now, gentlemen, or are we happy to carry on with our conversation? I can move you over.
No, if you could just mark the particular location of your men that we need to find, just so we've got a reference.
She does. The map of Nota is a little bit small, but it gives you enough directions that off the hills and the side, especially with Ishmael's training in chipping and using maps for navigation, that kind of thing, you'll definitely be able to get there.
Lovely.
I mean, how much more different is navigating oxen to navigating a ship?
I mean, honestly, it all kind of looks like gibberish to me. Ishmael, do you want to hang on to this? You can be our official wayfinder.
Yeah, I'll hang on to it.
Okay, she passes the map over. Now, you said you came into me with a proposition before I offered you a job. What exactly was that?
Well, it was more of a request for information. See, we've been employed, so to speak, to find this den of phase spiders in a cave somewhere to the north, rumored to be on the north coast somewhere. And we were just looking for any information you might have, figuring you would know the local area.
Figure right. I've heard the rumors. Basically, if you take a boat, or in this case a set of oxen, up to the absolute northmost point of the island, you'll end up on a peninsula, out to sea on both sides. On its east side, about halfway down the side of the cliff, there is an entrance where these webs have been reported. You'd need some rope to climb down to be able to get into it. Means you're not going to be able to run away in a hurry. But I do understand there's a local party rather interested in collecting some coin out of it. I'd send some soldiers for such a lucrative bounty, but all of mine are indisposed at the moment.
You knew Nota was such a dangerous place.
Aye, well, anywhere that attaches to the Undercity and has such powerful magics wandering through it has a tendency to attract unwanted attention.
Hmm.
Have you
Well,
not
so
spent
this.
much time around the island in the past?
Well, not really. And no offense, I had no intentions to come here, but well, the ship I was on was captured by these rather fishy-looking pirates, and I'm not speaking figuratively. And
You ran into our Sawagan neighbors, eh?
yeah,
The Baron is most unsettling to deal with.
well, luckily we didn't have to meet him. We just we were cut loose in a storm, me and these lot. Well, apart from Eldon, considerably less salty. Well, not salty, because obviously all the water is fresh due to its unnatural nature.
Salty enough. Regardless, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and some of the survivors up there might even be willing to take up arms with you. Now, can I answer any more questions before I send you off to hopefully turn with my drunken troops?
Well,
Last that went out there was a crate full of ale, you see. I'm kind of worried that they've just gotten into it.
yeah, well, that might explain a lot. But we did have some more specific questions, maybe about phase spiders. Like, we encountered one a little while ago, but it was a brief and unpleasant encounter, and we didn't really learn much beyond the fact that they're quite dangerous. Do they have any weaknesses, or, you know?
Tend to be quite vulnerable to fire,
Oh,
and a good antitoxin ahead of time, brewed into a draft of some kind, will give you resistance against their poisons. I would suggest that this would be something you do if it is your intention to, climb down the side of a cliff and go into a hole full of spiders.
Aye, no, that's good advice. Antitoxin. Aye. All right. No, that's very sound advice. Thank you. I have some thoughts.
You might be fine. Dwarven constitution and all that gives you resistance to these kind of things, but for your compatriots, I would recommend that you go to one of the marketplaces and acquire some antitoxin.
Not a big fan of spiders, so definitely should do that.
yeah, agreed, I guess.
Yes.
I actually find that once they're over about 5 foot, they stop being creepy and just start being terrifying.
Oh, I
Is
mean,
there
I
really a line between it?
prefer spiders to bugs any day, but I'd rather not mingle with either of them.
Well, it seems that sometimes you have to do what has to be done.
Right. Let's go fetch some antitoxins and get on our way.
Bloody fire.
Can we meet the cart at the
Yeah, there's
at the gate? Or...
There's a stable on the way out of town. They'll help you out. Just outside the city walls, there's a small stable. It's the second one. They usually have a chestnut mare hangs around outside. Exceptionally fond of dandelions. I love that horse, but she's too old to do any real work now.
Well, we'll do our best to bring her back in one piece.
Oh, she won't be going anywhere. She's mine.
We'll
we
be
have
using the oxen, remember, Borum?
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry,
Should we
oxen,
just-
horses—they're all just big four-legged animals to me.
Should we just mention your name at the stables then?
Aye, they'll know who I am. They'll sort you out.
Is it just Mansfield or Commander? Is there a proper first name?
Helena is my first name, but if you say you're here for the order for Mansfield or the order for Helena, they'll know.
Aye. Well, it's
Well
been
then,
a pleasure to meet your acquaintance, Helena. I'm Ishmael.
Nice to meet you, Ishmael.
it's been a pleasure to get to know you, Miss Mansfield. My name is Eldon.
Nice to meet you, Eldon. Now, go! Bring me back my drunken louts.
Aye. Quite so. See you in a few days.
See you in a few days. And she hands you the sending scroll along with the spell. Or sorry, along with the map.
As you leave, I turn to Borm. If she wanted drunken louds, we could have left you behind as a safety deposit.
Very funny, Mr. Eldon.
He's too capable when he's drunk.
Ah,
That's
Very
makes
much
me scary.
so.
I would assume so. Um, do we have anything else that we need to do still?
Well, I think
Um,
we should pick up our little bits and bobs over at the blacksmith.
Oh, yes. You need to pick up your sword, and we need to get some antidote. Or antitoxin. Sorry.
Out of character, don't forget we still have to go visit the wizard lady once more to acquire the vials.
Well, she
Or
said she
before
would
we completely
arrange
forget.
delivery. But yes.
We
Yeah,
just
no,
want to
we
meet
can-
her after sunset, right?
No. Aye. Yeah, no, we can head back there, grab them, head to the cart. Job's a good one.
Mhm.
Or I suppose, in fact, how far away are we from there?
Nota is no more than 2 days to travel from one end to the other. So it's basically going to take you 1 day.
No, I mean from her, the lady,
wizard lady.
zoo lady.
15 minutes
Up
walk.
a nice-
Basically, am I close enough to use message?
No.
All right. Never mind.
100, like, Nota is a city. Message is 150 feet.
Yeah, no, it was just we might have been
And no, it was
close
worth
by.
it.
It's what appears to be a high caliber mage's house, so there might be anti-scrying and anti-messaging things in place.
Well, how do our friends get in touch? Anyway, no, we can wait till sundown, pick up the vials, grab our oxen, and then head out of town as far as we can.
Yes. That seems
No
like a good
point in
plan.
waiting for morning. The roads don't seem too dangerous on here.
You just had to go and say that.
Well, anything bigger than a goblin you could spot from the city towers.
Those bugs were rather small, but they were still quite a problem, weren't they?
Yeah, but they were underground. We're not going underground
The size
until
doesn't
we
matter
get
here.
to the
Everything's deadly.
spiders.
I hate everything.
On the road, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Shut
Stop
up before you
worrying.
do
You
something you will regret.
You keep making it worse.
You need to have some faith.
Bottom, you're going first, so that whatever we discover hits you first.
Yes.
Gladly.
Next
And
session,
Seetha's had
more
my back up
dead.
till now.
Don't worry. If you get attacked first, we'll fight them off for you.
We're all gonna die, aren't we?
Oh yes, we are.
God.
Right, well, suppose we've got, what, an hour till sundown?
Like 6 hours till sundown.
6 hours till sundown. God,
That's
what are we gonna do till then?
Well, we've
Well,
got
we
a
gotta
question
go
to fetch.
shopping.
Just a point. You were also told that it was a day's, 2 days work to have all of the weapons you've asked to have customized.
No. Well, I suppose we'll just drink for a couple of days.
So technically, if we were to leave, if the DM now had intervened, we would be at the cave, at the
With no
base
weapons.
by the
yeah.
cave, would be caught with our pants down, as the saying goes.
And
I've
I'm
been
not
in
letting
enough
that happen.
bar fights. I might have been able to take one hand to leg to leg to leg to leg to leg combat.
Alright, well, until we can, do what we need to do, Borum, why don't you see if you can help me with the thing? Just let me get properly not sober first.
Which do you want me to do first?
Clearly, the latter first. The later first. Later? Latter? How do you say it in... Oh, no, how do you say that in that accent? Oh, no. I ruined it. Latter! Sure, let's do it that.
Ladder.
So you want some booze? All right.
Yes.
Are we back at the inn yet?
Yeah, let's
'Cause I
say
presume that's where we're.
let's say you're going back to the inn.
Alright.
On the way back to the inn, do we pass a tobacconist? Is there a tobacconist in this city?
Not a specialist, but there's certainly a general store in which you would be able to purchase tobacco from.
Yeah, I want to just we don't have to play it. I'll just purchase some tobacco.
Right. So it kind of feels like we've gotten to a point where any more roleplay would be massively self-indulgent. But you have a day of downtime, and the next morning you're going to go and gather your things. What would you guys like to do with your downtime?
Drink, I think.
Get drunk and get
I'm basically the plan was to go back to the bar, offer the barkeeper a gold for a barrel of water, turn it into mead,
and then drink the barrel of mead.
but basically say, we'll drink out of this tonight, and you can keep whatever's left over. Fair trade, considering I paid you a gold.
Yeah, no, fair. He'll let you.
Yeah.
With knowledge that there's not going to be a great deal left in that barrel.
I'll be drinking light because I'm going to be spending most of that time nursing a mead or two and using my wood carving kit to carve the hunk of ebony and the bit of coral and fashion myself a nice pipe.
And
wonderful idea.
And Borum is going to, after we've drunk most of a barrel of mead, take Rashida into one of the rooms and for added privacy, and he's going to cast 3 goes of Cure Wounds on her. In fact, he's going to cast
Probably
1.
4.
Yeah, sorry, he's going to cast 4 level 1 Cure Wounds on her and 1 level 2 Cure Wounds on her, and then he's going to cast Suggestion on her that she forgets this ever happened.
Nice.
Good man.
Good man.
And then he's going to drink the rest of the mead and forget it ever happened.
So not only she's already gonna be incredibly drunk to let it happen, she's also gonna forget.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Everyone forgets. It's like this never happened, except for the live stream.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The room, and I just kind of tip my pipe at him and just cock my eyebrow but keep my mouth shut.
Ellen would just be drinking a bit of wine, copying the grease spell into his spell book, and just reading the book he picked up for the academy.
Greasy.
Greasy.
So that will end tonight's session. If we do any more, we will definitely run over our allotted time. And while we have you, dear single viewer, who I am perpetually grateful for coming and enjoying our show, it is not enough to support 4 people's wages. So.
Not yet. Soon that 1 will be 100, and that 100 will become 1,000.
And then you wake up and realize you've been dreaming.
Got a dream. We got a dream. Anyway, regardless, thank you very much, everyone. We will see you again same time next week, where we will actually fight something.
Hopefully.
Oh.
I punch Borum in the face.
Take it back.
I throw a solitary fireball at them.
Oh, God,
also,
no, not fire!
everybody, for tonight, there's really good roleplay, all the rest of it, blah blah blah. Have some inspiration. Everybody gets one.
Woo!
Everybody got some inspiration.
Let's
You
forget
get
what we said.
inspiration. You get inspiration.
And were we doing XP or milestone? I think we were doing milestone, right?
Yeah, we're doing milestone.
Yeah, so you don't get any XP.
Nice.
Except
You ain't
for
getting
the
You ain't getting the level yet, folks. You ain't getting the level.
Yeah, you can't level up for chatting up an old wizard lady.
No. I think I would hand out experience for that kind of stuff. But
And
for
this is the moment
like
where-
milestone, no. Milestone, you're not getting a level
This
up
is
for
the-
just chatting up with the wizard lady.
This is the moment where the stream gets cut, and in the YouTube edit, the moment they start talking, you don't get XP for chatting up an old elven wizard lady, and that's where just the conversation starts to slowly fade out.
Fair.
Alright, well, bye, Twitch.
Bye, Twitch.